Hello, dear viewers. It's Becca here from Readings by the Empress. I am reading today on the 4-day work week. Okay, so Bernie Sanders is a proponent of this, would love for it to come to the House floor, be voted upon, go to the Senate, and be approved. However, we all know that's not happening soon, but will it happen? See, this is my question. Also, you guys, I always see two competing forces coming in the next, they're there now, but they're also going to intensify over the next few years. And don't fear, don't worry. I mean, this is more of the same, but so we have the one track with people wanting fair labor laws to be updated, for goodness sakes, right? More workers' protections, more union involvement, more less ability of companies and governments to get in the way of union development. We have a larger movement identifying what is wrong in corporate culture for workers and demanding something more livable, more workable. We have that track going. And then we have this track over here of greater income inequality that just seems to be continuing. And corporations and really rich people having more power, not less. So where is this going? Do we get this 4-day work week? Or do we get better enhanced worker protections? Let's see. Okay, source. Show us how it goes. Maybe I'll do it this way. In this year, the next year, the next year. What about at this time? How is this developing, source? We have people upset. We have the Knight of Swords. Okay, so we have this kind of aggressive, verbally aggressive swords. A lot of times our verbal aggression. And the Knight is not entirely mature, so it's not like there's, and this is often a plan as well. So the plan isn't entirely mature. Maybe the communication about this isn't entirely coherent and effective yet. However, the Knight of Swords is a point along the continuum. It's an important part. People are speaking out. People are upset. People are angry. The lack of loyalty, the lack to employees, the lack of security employees have, and layoffs happening so regularly, that kind of thing is really upsetting people. So sort of there is a little bit of a let's burn it all down kind of figuratively kind of mentality out there. And we know that's not sustainable. However, this is an important part of the journey. Let's see. Okay, here's the problem. And this is being identified. In my political readings, a lot of times the Lover's card is who's in bed with whom. And there are too many politicians in bed with big business. And some of them because they are getting donations by big business. And the lobbyists are working constantly with them to try to make laws that are favorable to big business and corporations. But some of them simply because hey, we've got to keep this big business happy. They're great, huge employers in our area. If we don't keep them happy, they'll go somewhere else. Then I think in Washington, a lot of politicians on the national level feel like we do have to be kind to the corporations. They'll go to another country, So there is some of this that is really, really icky, really dastardly. And there's some of this that is just, people with good intentions feeling like it's gotten so out of control they can't do much about it without hurting their constituency. So we have an issue, and everybody's talking about it, obviously, with that Knight of Swords. And we have the Four of Swords. Ooh, and we have more people dropping out. So we have more people just going to drop out of the workforce saying, I will not do this. I would rather have just enough to live on than do this. Because so many of these jobs will cost you your health. Let's just say it. Okay. And right now we have Two of Wands. We have the two-party system. Maybe people are favoring Democrats more, right now as they're thinking maybe they could help us with labor unions and such and workers' rights more. Okay, what is going in the nearer future? Not this year, but next year, next 2 years? What should we expect, source? This is interesting to me. I'd like to know. You guys, I shuffle till I feel like they're saying, yep, pick the card that's on top. That's what I'm doing here. So somebody said, I can't see the cards. They said, are you picking them ahead of time? What's going on? You guys just have to know that I'm not having time, and I certainly don't have the patience to pre-select a bunch of cards and know exactly what I'm going to be reading on. You see me. I come to this as I go. So I take the top. What do we have? The 9 of Cups. And that is our wish is fulfilled. In the next few years, we're going to get something important that we want. That I say we workers, we American workers want. Wow, what would that be in the next couple of years? Well, there's going to be a lot of political debate about it. So it won't be like it won't be all that we want. You know what I mean? In a step ahead. But let's see. Queen of Cups, more compassionate government coming in as we're demanding it to be. King of Cups, men and women on the same, male and masculine, feminine on the same page with this. Okay. Justice. Oh, there will be more lawsuits by employees, by unions. Oh, so it's not like it's going to be handed to us, okay? But I do see unions growing and becoming more powerful, more lawsuits, more civil liberties lawsuits. Oh my gosh, the ALCU. Yes. So in the next 2 years, expect that there are going to be good breakthroughs in workers' rights. And what form will it take, source? Can we ask? Definitely government approved, definitely laws, definitely new laws. We did ask about the 4-day work week. What do you think? New laws. Okay, I'm not feeling like it's exactly that, but maybe there are new laws protecting for a 40-hour work week. Okay, there are a bunch of professions that are now salaried, right? People are salaried when maybe that's not appropriate because they're professions where really hourly would do better for them because they would get time and a half after 40 hours a week, right? So that's been a shift. A lot of people are paid salaried now, where then they're expected to pretty much donate 10 to 20, maybe 30 hours a week in some professions to stay competitive with their coworkers, or they're going to get axed. They'll be laid off in the next round. So this is the hell that a lot of American workers are trapped in. So there is going to be some protection that gives greater chance that 40-hour work week is indeed going to be a 40-hour work week for people. Maybe there will be fewer salaried. Maybe there will be laws that make more stringent kinds of expectations before you can justify salarying your employees. Gig workers definitely that really are treated more like employees. Yeah, no, they're going to have to get employee benefits and be subject to fair labor laws. So we're going to see those kinds of changes. And some companies will interpret this, I think, as a 4-day work week. Well, if we're going to have all these on us anyway, all these restrictions on us anyway, we might as well offer people a 4-day work week, 4/10s. And if that's more attractive to people. Also, there's a protection coming through, I'm hearing, in the next 2 years for firings or layoffs. There's a bit, it's small. I don't feel like it's big. In the U.S. we are at will, right? Employers are at will, meaning they can decide tomorrow, I don't want you around, and off you go. Or I don't want 100 of you around, and off you go. Which is unheard of in a lot of European nations. So it looks like there's a step toward a little more protection for employees from layoffs. So maybe warning, maybe corporations should have to demonstrate necessity before they do this, because currently there are corporations who simply believe in laying off huge bunches of people every year or two because they burn you out. They know that they're going to burn the employees out, and they want to get rid of the burnt out employees who aren't giving as much and replace them, they hope, with employees who are willing to hustle, hustle, hustle. And, we know, there's been articles that alleging that Amazon's business model encourages this. And this is for their line workers, right, who are packaging and sending at their fulfillment centers, right? That they seem to know they can get the best, hardest work out of them in the first several months. So they have such high productivity expectations. They have an internal mechanism. They don't have to lay off huge bunches of people. They can simply, oh, you didn't meet your productivity now, goodbye, really use you up and then let you go. So we have a lot of these problems, but it looks like there's a small protection against laying off and unreasonable firings that comes through. Just the beginning, though. But it looks to me like what's more exciting is more protection for the 40-hour work week. Of course, there are a lot of people who are saying that 40-hour work week with high productivity expectations, because there's all kinds of AI that can keep stats on your productivity and what exactly you do for the company and how much money you make for the company. It's getting easier and easier to track each employee that way too and evaluate them based upon that rather than any of the other things they bring to the company. Goodness gracious, that's just a whole other subject. Because then we have people not getting credit for mentoring other people, not getting given credit for contributing some very important things to the organization that are not in that algorithm. So anyway, what happens with that? As long as we're talking about that, what happens with that kind of thing? We have 2 of Cups. So there's a little more refining of the algorithm. Okay. We have Chariot. Oh, this becomes an issue. Productivity expectations in general become an issue, where there are workers who are going to be asking, what are your productivity expectations? How do you measure them? Companies who will have to tell them that, who will have to disclose that. This is the beginning, though. I feel in the next 2 years, we're hearing the beginnings of this. But this will be, I feel like it will be enshrined in the law within a decade. I do. So, but the beginning of this is going to be happening because a lot of times, even with the 40-hour work week, it's so intense for people. It's just so draining, and they can't take their breaks and meet their productivity expectations. And they're imposing productivity expectations on all kinds of professions now. So we'll look at that. So it looks like something really takes off with that too. So that's good. This is going to be the decade of these battles being fought and languaging the problems and the troubles, and workers becoming very educated about this. So that's good. Goodness. What else should we know about the coming few years, right? Homelessness is on the rise. So these things don't happen for no reason, right? Homelessness will be on the rise, or people finding they are shut out of professions, because the other things the algorithms are used for a lot of times is to screen out resumes, screen out applicants who, I don't know, the algorithm has identified some characteristic that tends to be correlated with good outcomes, and so if you don't have that characteristic, too bad. And there's a lot of argument that these are quite racist, because racist and sexist, because the characteristics might have historically been associated with schools that white people are more apt to go to, or white people with privilege, white males even, because the algorithms would be based upon historical kinds of data. So it kind of is regressive then, right? It brings in to the future then the biases of the past. So it looks to me like there's more discussion of this. There's more spotlight put on this problem, and that's good. But I don't feel like in the next couple of years there's a lot of, like laws changing about it. But there might be some companies, it's such bad press to be, oh, look what happens. Okay, so this is it. The workers, they can organize a lot more effectively with social media now. And they can run their own little experiments, can they not? I sent in a resume and application with these variables. Never got it, never got seen. I sent in one with these variables. I got seen. Same qualifications here, here, and here, but this variable was different. Oh my gosh. The workers are going to unite and do their own little experiments to test out these algorithms and their fairness. And so some companies may have to make changes just based on bad press. Okay, so that's what I am seeing in the next few years. Interesting. Okay, now, like I said, I've always seen in the coming decade a lot of improvement here. And I'm sorry, that it looks like the next few years, right, it's improvements, but as a result of shocking reports about the negative effects of some of these policies on human beings, So, yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Nobody ever just hands these improvements to people lower on the rungs of society as far as power, political power goes. We earn them. We always earn them. Yes. Yes. How about minorities? I'm thinking for people of color and indigenous peoples, people of color. Okay. Is there greater fairness coming in? It's been a long battle for so many. We have the 7 of Cups. It's hard to say. It's like it's a moving target, right? It's like, okay, we're identifying how racist practices, affect this and this and this, right? But yet, and maybe this law is good for that, or that's good for that, but then they get sneakier and more subtle and more confusing. We already know affirmative action, huge blow to the affirmative action programs. So what about that? 8 of Coins, something with education. See, that's the apprentice card, something with education. Maybe there is a little bit of a remedying of that, a way to grant more scholarships to minorities that come in, like some universities finding a way to sort of do affirmative action anyway. And then we have the Judgment Angel, Judgment Falls. So in other words, I feel like in the next few years, the more subtle ways that racism affects people, we become more educated, advocates, those who have a voice for minorities become, they language this better, and we can identify the sneakier, more subtle ways that racism, sexism, all of those isms are disadvantaging people, minorities. I want to be clear too, because sometimes people have said people of color are not the minority in our country. And, numerically, maybe that's disappearing. The minority status is disappearing numerically. However, minority, I'm using it in the political minority sense, less powerful politically. And all you have to do there is look at how many heads of big business, how many politicians are people of color. That's what I'm saying, or are women, so this is political minority I'm talking about. Yes. So it looks like, boy, the advocates, those who are all of us who are clamoring for greater equality, we get better at identifying the subtleties and languaging this. Interesting. Okay. 4 of Cups. 4 of Cups. But there is a lot of dissatisfaction. So I feel like in the next couple of years, what we're going to see is a lot of dissatisfaction growing with this. A lot more talking about, wait a minute. This might sound good, but it doesn't solve the problem. So a lot of problem identification in the next 2 years. Okay, so let me look at within the next 10. Well, look at that. 10 years, 10 of wands. It's burdensome. But you know what? This guy is strong and he keeps going, and he's got the home in the distance. He's going to take his load home. So it looks to me like it's burdensome. It's a lot of work, but yes, I do things improve for the workers, for American workers? Yeah, they do. Look more to the 10th year, like that kind of thing, like look more out into the distance. So it looks like these are years of identifying problems and then small victories. But yeah, the corporations and the very wealthy do also have a lot of power growing. So it's a real cacophony of voices here that become much more unified, and the American workers become much more educated about the issues. So then I see real change coming in later, real significant change coming in, like at the end of this decade. Interesting. Okay. But use your voice. That's what I hear. I thank you all so much. Take care. Bye-bye.